To abalone, and in particular, abalone shell, which is used as a medicine. Not really used in the West. So let's talk a little bit about this. So the family of abalone, they're mollusks. There's about 9 different types in the world in the Haliotis group. And we're going to talk specifically about 2 of them. Haliotis versicolor, lots of colors, and Haliotis gargantia, discuss. And these are the varieties from China. The varieties that are in the California, which has 7 of the 9 varieties, they're considered endangered. They are very carefully monitored in terms of harvesting because of changes in ocean acidity, mudslides from so many of the fires that have taken place within California that disrupt their environment, heavier storms that also disrupt their environment. But they have been being very successfully farmed in China, but around the world as well. They are one of the great examples of rejuvenating the ocean's environment. They eat a lot of kelp, so you have to grow kelp beds, which is wonderful. And they actually, after 7 to 8 years, when they're mature and able to be harvested, they retain their nutritive value, unlike some farmed seafoods. So this is a happy story there. But do pay attention. Don't make use of the endangered, and know where your abalone fish is coming from, which is crazy high in nutrition. But let's look at the shell, because this is not used so much in the West, but it has a deep history in traditional Chinese medicine. And it's very closely identified with this idea of the liver heat rising. So the liver energy in the body goes right up to the eyes. So it turns out, as you can imagine, abalone shell is wonderful for treating eye conditions, especially as they are associated to this idea of liver heat, yang going crazy and rising up. So we're talking, glaucoma, cataracts, conjunctivitis, red itchy eyes. It's got a wide spectrum of strength and capability. It'll also deal with anxiety when yang gets crazy and agitated and is sort of moving away from its yin that anchors it like the deep waters of the ocean. You get storms, you get anxiety, you can get depression, you can have insomnia. Abalone shell is very good for all of these conditions and is used in many formulas with other herbs. This is not one of those that's tended to be used by itself. It's going to be blended with other herbs to treat those kinds of conditions. Now, from a Western perspective, the outer shell is full of calcium carbonate. That's a fancy way of saying it's an antacid. It's really good for easing digestive disorders, acid reflux, things of that nature, heartburn, and it contains magnesium. Again, very important for the absorption of calcium, for calming anxiety. Contains iron, building red blood cells. Silica, another important compound for supporting bone growth, reducing inflammation. There's a lot of other compounds in it, but they all come together to help support what we already know from the traditional Chinese medicine perspective of what these shells can do. Now, the inner shell, that beautiful mother of pearl, is also highly important. It is also used in the medicine. The whole thing will be ground up. It contains like 16 different amino acids. Protein, very, very important for almost every single body function. And when it gets hydrolyzed, treated with water, which it is often done, then it breaks down those proteins even further, making them more digestible and easily accessible for the system. So it boosts the ability of the shells to be absorbed by the system and utilized. Keratin, also in the inner shell, very, very good for joint health. So you can see the shells contain a lot of important healing aspects. You might want to visit our website at whiterabbitinstituteofhealing.com to find out more about abalone certainly as a seafood, but also this important medicinal property of the shells. They're not only beautiful on altars with important sacred applications, but it also has this medicinal capacity to it.